this evening, I'm going to go ahead and read the mission statement. The Gadsden Independent School District will provide diverse educational opportunities that empower students to be successful in an ever-changing world. El Distrito Escolar Independiente de Gadsden brindará diversas oportunidades educativas que capacitarán a los estudiantes para tener éxito en un mundo cambiante. Okay. Moving on to the next agenda item is that we have this evening consideration and possible action for reorganization. We go ahead and discuss if we want to do this or have. Okay. So the floor is open for discussion. If you would like to reorganize, we can do that this evening. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. We did this last year, and I know at some point, I don't know if it was when I came here or like a year before, that we said it's going to be every 2 years. So then we're doing it again because I wanted to make sure. So we are going to do it every year. We're going to do it every 2 years because that's the last thing that I heard.
And I'm going to go to you, sirs. Which policy are we?
Madam President, board members, so we do have some discrepancy in our policy, and this has to do with the PDF that we used to use, a scrolling PDF, which is a PDF of the entire policy versus what's online. And what's online is every March we reorganize the board. And so my recommendation is you follow that, and as we get a policy, and we're not the only one with the issue with policy service. There's about 60 other districts in the same boat. So once that gets addressed and taken care of, then we'll get all of our local policies uploaded.
Okay. So with that being said, any other questions, comments, or concerns? No? Okay. So we're going to proceed. Let me see. So our first one is president. It's, and just for the public is aware, I did provide our secretary, Arlene Murillo. She does have a similar, exact same copy of this, but this is, it actually has every single board member's name posted at the top. And then whoever nominates that board member, she will keep note of it. It's also going to be in record with Ms. Mary Lou. And so then on the other side are the board members as they cast their vote. So she'll be taking tally marks to see what the outcome is. Okay, so in accordance with board policy BDA, we're going to go ahead and reorganize for this evening for president, vice president, and secretary. We will proceed with nominations. So I will now open the floor to accept nominations for the office of president.
Madam President,
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to nominate you to remain as our president.
Okay, so Arlene Murillo has nominated myself to remain as president. Are there any other nominations for the office of president? And you can make other nominations.
I will second that motion.
Okay, we can't second at the time. You'll be able to cast your vote here in a bit. But again, are there any other nominations for the office of president? Okay. So we're going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and I will now close the floor for nominations. So we have our nominee for the office of president, which is myself. And so we are now going to vote for the office of president for policy BDA. We will do this by roll call. When your name is called, please name the nominee you wish to receive your vote. If you are among the nominees, you may vote for yourself. If no majority, and then we'll go back. So here we go. So Ms. Arlene, if you can call the votes.
Okay, so for nominee for president, Laura Salazar Flores, since I nominated, I vote aye. Cristian Lira,
Aye.
Ms. Claudia Rodriguez, Mr. Daniel Castillo,
Aye.
Ms. Laura Flores.
Aye. And thank you very much for your nomination, Ms. Maria, and thank you for your votes. And do you know that I just wanted to say thank you, and this will probably be the last time that I would like to continue doing this. It should, hopefully next year somebody else can become president, and because you all are capable of doing this. Okay, moving on to nominations and elections for GISD School Board Vice President. I will now open the floor to accept nominations for the office of Vice President. Are there any? What are your nominations?
I would like to nominate Ms. Claudia Rodriguez to remain in the seat of Vice President.
Are there any other nominations for the office of Vice President? If there are no more nominations for Vice President, I will now close the floor for nominations. We have as our nominee Claudia Rodriguez for the office of President. We are now going to vote for the office of Vice President. For policy BDA, we will do this by roll call vote. When your name is called, please name the nominee whom you wish to receive your vote. If you are among the nominees, you may vote for yourself. Go ahead, Mrs. Lydia.
Okay, since I nominated Ms. Claudia Rodriguez, I vote aye. Christian Lira? Aye. Claudia Rodriguez? Daniel Castillo?
Aye.
Laura Flores?
Aye. Okay, congratulations, Ms. Rodriguez, for being Vice President. Moving on to nominations and elections for our GISD School Board Secretary. I will now open the floor to accept nominations for the office of Secretary.
I nominate Arlene Murillo for secretary.
Okay, Mr. Castillo has nominated Arlene Murillo as Secretary. Are there any other nominations for the office of Secretary? Okay, I will now close the floor for nominations. We have as our nominee for Secretary, USC Secretary of Education. I will now close the floor for nominations, and Ms. Arlene, go ahead and take the votes.
Okay, Christian Lira? Claudia Rodriguez? Daniel Castillo?
Aye.
Laura Flores?
Aye.
Myself is an aye.
So that vote is unanimous. So congratulations again, Ms. Murillo. You are our board secretary. So then moving on now to item 4 is our superintendent, Travis L. Dempsey's district updates and recognition. Superintendent Dempsey.
Madam President, board members, thank you for joining us this evening. Our first item is Gadsden Elementary staff and substitute teacher. Ms. Marcus, will you come up and join us? I want to share a little bit. Many times we hear maybe sometimes not as positive things about our substitutes sometimes. And Ms. Marcus last week called me and shared a story with me that I thought really emphasized what we ask out of our substitutes and the emphasis to me was just take care of kids. Now, if I have these facts right, Ms. Marcus, you can correct me here. I believe this was this individual's first time subbing.
Yes.
First time in our schools, and noticed a young lady. It was very early in the morning, right after breakfast was served.
Mm-hmm.
Noticed the young lady kind of struggling to, some changes in her behavior and just if she didn't know her, she just was paying attention. Well, as it turned out, this young lady was having a reaction to possibly something she ate, and we didn't know if it was at school or at home. And we got that figured out, but because of this sub's actions. And because then she got the administration and the nurse involved very quickly, this young lady had to be transported to the hospital, was having a serious reaction. And because of their actions, this young lady's fine, but it could have been very different. Okay. And I just cannot say how much I appreciate this group, Ms. Marcus's team here, and how they reacted to a child's needs immediately, took action, kept our students safe. And so, Ms. Marcus, if you want to share here, and we get to recognize it tonight. So I want to give them a little recognition because this is exactly, sometimes we get so caught up in big things. Mm-hmm. The most important thing is taking care of kids, and your staff emphasizes that. Thank you so much. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam President, board members, and Superintendent Mr. Dempsey. It gives me great pleasure to introduce to you three wonderful ladies from Gadsden Elementary School. First, it's Ms. Linda Mediano. Ms. Mediano, would you please come forward? Ms. Mediano is a substitute teacher that reacted quickly to the well-being of a student that was having an allergic reaction. And when I mean allergic reaction, we're talking about oxygen levels dropping fast. That's how severe it was. Second, I'd like to introduce our registered nurse, Ms. Shelley Pierce. Ms. Pierce, would you join me? And Ms. Lisa Collins, medical assistant, that quickly assessed the student and acted accordingly. It is comforting to know that our students are in great hands at Gadsden Elementary School, and we don't say thank you enough to all of these people. So it was very important us to acknowledge them. So again, thank you for allowing us to acknowledge them. Thank you.
Okay, thank you all for that. The next item we have is this is New Mexico Lexia Letters journey. We have a little video we want. It's I don't think it's even 2 minutes in it, and we'll play it in just a second. But just a little bit of background to understand is letters is a very specific component of what the state has rolled out as structured literacy. And I will tell you, our teachers have very much embraced it. It's really the teaching of phonics and phonemic awareness to our students. And Ms. Hernandez and her team, and you're going to see many of them on this video, have really taken it to another level. They've added components of it that are a part of what we call UFly strategies. That's the University of Florida reading initiatives. And so they've really taken it to a whole other level in the entire state. And then what you're going to see here is this is a video from Lexia, which is a giant company that is utilizing what we're doing here and watching it and helping us study it so we can improve and get better. But I really love the way our staff gets highlighted and Gadsden gets highlighted. And this is really a national video.
And what's our middle sound? Very good. I have.
My teachers complain about me always because I'm constantly telling them we're building the plane as we fly it. All right. If we wait until we're ready, we'll never start. All right. You just have to start.
We want to be sure that we're catching struggling readers early. We want prevention instead of, waiting for them to fail.
I just feel that they cannot go anywhere without literacy. It is their civil right to learn to read.
Some of the things New Mexico can't necessarily tackle, but I think in schools implementing letters and making it mandatory is going to set us apart from other states and I think increase the reading scores because we can already see it.
I've seen a lot of school districts who have picked this up, they're running with it, they understand it, they get it, their eyes are opened because they knew something wasn't right.
So the Gadsden Independent School District is a rural district. It's sandwiched between El Paso, Texas and Las Cruces, New Mexico, right up against the Mexican border.
85% of our district population is Hispanic. Our school district is Title I, and every student receives free and reduced lunch.
We have about close to 12,000 students total, and about half of those students are English language learners.
We live in a farming community, and the majority of our students live in rural areas. We have 14 elementary schools.
We have been traditionally a balanced literacy district.
Statewide, we were doing balanced literacy.
Statewide, our scores, our NAEP scores, showed that we were not doing the right thing.
We saw a lot of kids who weren't reading, and so that was always a concern to us. Why aren't they reading if we're following the program the way they told us it was supposed to be done, with fidelity?
We had a balanced literacy checklist that people were coming in and making sure that we had certain things in our classroom. And if we were teaching phonics, what are you doing with that?
Before, our kids were just guessing. I used to teach that, you know. If you don't know that word, skip. Do the kangaroo jump. And then come back and reread that word.
So I felt like the literacy was almost like a guessing. The reading was a guessing game.
The lower grades could camouflage that a little better because they still had picture books, so the kids could guess the words. But as they started going up to the upper grades, the pictures weren't there anymore. So now they were reading for meaning, and that was really difficult.
The director for elementary education asked me to be part of a grant for the state called the Circle Grant. And we were brainstorming, well, if we're gonna send our teachers to training, I mean, truly the choice was more balanced literacy, which would get us what we had, or we could try to go out there and find the Cadillac. And when we did the research, letters was the Cadillac. It's the piece that the teachers should have learned in college, but never did. So I'm going to these Circle Grant meetings, and I'm taking the letters and saying, okay, we need to do this as a state. It can't just be Gadsden. This is an issue statewide.
So in 2019, Senate Bill 398 was passed, and written into legislation is that all elementary teachers, kindergarten through 5th grade, will receive training in structured literacy, and all first grade teachers will screen their first grade students for characteristics of dyslexia. So in the school year 2020 to 2021, not the ideal time to be rolling out a statewide initiative, but at the same time, we couldn't wait because our students needed this help.
So we started with kinder and 2nd grade. We brought it district-wide, and I'll be honest, I think they all felt like, oh my gosh, what are we doing? What, you want me to take a college course? I don't have time for this.
And I had never heard of letters before. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what structured literacy was. So the transition to structured literacy was a little rough at first.
It felt like I was having to question everything that I had done for the first 15 years of my career.
You know, at that point, I was already nationally certified. And I'm like, I'm nationally certified in literacy, but I don't know anything about the science of reading. How is that? How does that make sense?
As soon as I saw the structured literacy and the research and everything that we've been learning, I was on board. I was like, this is what we've been needing.
It was like opening up a little rainbow for me.
A true understanding of the phoneme-grapheme association.
How the dendrites and synapses are just firing off and where in the brain.
Looking at the way our mouth is formed to make those sounds.
The reading rope, if every teacher could just have access to that.
As an English learner myself, this has been so empowering. The explicit instruction that I have learned to deliver because of letters, I'm able to understand where they're coming from, where the breakdowns are happening, and then what I can do about it.
We're in our 4th year now. Last year we wrapped in 3rd grade teachers. This year it's 4th grade, and then next year it'll be 5th grade.
Reading is important. It's very important. So we built in time in our daily schedule for a larger block for our literacy. We used to have maybe an hour and a half. Now we have a 2.5 hour block for literacy because we understand how important that is now.
Now say birth, but don't say b.
They are making better decisions in terms of data as well, looking at what that particular student needs rather than just, I'm going to teach this because this is what I'm told to teach.
Most of our students are first, second, third generation English learners. They don't live in one particular language, they live in two languages.
You know, our bilingual students can't catch a certain sound because that's not in their native tongue. So we have to teach them how to make that sound. And so letters helped our teachers be able to realize that.
In fact, Letters is a bonus because you can implement the strategies and the concepts in any language, even though Letters itself is delivered in English.
Welcome to Letters for Administrators.
Not only have our teachers been trained, but then also our administrators have been trained.
All of our administrators have gone through the Letters for Administrators training. Such a great way to get everybody on board.
We have, at the state level, our whole department either letters trained or now enrolled in letters training. We have all of our departments speaking the same language now. They understand that this is a huge initiative and this is what's right for students.
4, 8. Evaporate.
There you go, start again.
The growth that we're seeing now is growth that we would see like second semester. And I think honestly, what it's come down to is being very intentional and very explicit in our teaching.
It just gave me chills knowing that we will be sending a solid group who will now be not just readers, but also writers.
I'm not used to being a first grade teacher who has their students coming in knowing all their letter names and sounds.
What is the word, boys and girls?
This is the first year that we have a majority of them coming with that already.
When they left last year using the skills I learned from Letters, how to teach decoding and blending, they left reading. Second grade got readers.
So even though it's not really part of the 5th and 6th grade curriculum to teach foundational skills, they see that the students are missing it. So now all of the teachers can have the background knowledge to implement the necessary steps.
I've seen a lot of school districts who have picked this up. They're running with it. They understand it. They get it. Their eyes are opened, and they caught on fire.
But if you get in the classroom and start to watch how it's delivered and how it's used, it is a really important key. So we'll get a chance to get back to you, okay? Now, next item we have here is our student representative. We have Ms. Bada, who is a senior at ST High.
Hello, Madam President and members of the board. As you know, my name is Carolina Parla, and I am the student representative for Santa Teresa High School. And I'm just here to update you on a couple of things that's been happening in the school, good and bad. First off, we're starting with the good. The yearbook was recognized on a national level, and a shout out to Ms. Arroyo, who runs the program. We finished our winter sports, and with wrestling, we won second place at the state championship, and our band scored first at their MPA, which is the music performance assessment, I'm pretty sure. And we just completed our biannual blood drive with Vitalis, I'm pretty sure that's what it is. And it was complimentary of the NJROTC, which took lead of the full blood drive and ran it. And it was done really nicely. And Dylan Lopez won a $500 scholarship from Big Future. And 6 students are going to the Spanish Institute in summer at NMSU this year. And what's upcoming is our prom, hosted by, well, not hosted, but ran by Mr. Oz. And around 50% of our tickets are sold right now, and they're selling out really quickly, so that's good. And another upcoming event is graduation. And we also have our Instagram page, which is at STHS Warriors, all lowercase, if you want to follow it and see like any other updates that I might have missed. And now for the bad. Or not bad, but room for improvement. We're still having bathroom issues with a bunch of people like bitching and smoking, vaping, stuff. We're still dealing with that. We've implemented stricter policies, like we have a security guard posted outside both the restrooms and the main entrance, and we don't allow anybody inside the building until around 8:35ish, 8:45ish. And the graduation tests are, a lot of seniors are a bit upset about it because either they weren't informed about it or they didn't get a chance to vote, and seniors aren't allowed to decorate the cafeteria, which is causing a bit of an uproar. And that is all I have for you right now. As I said, you can follow our Instagram page at SPHS Warriors, all lowercase, if you would like any more updates. And I'll be happy to Madam President.
Are there any questions, comments, or questions for Catarina? Oh, yes. Thank you. Mrs. Maria.
I just have a comment because I had to say it here. I remember when you were in middle school, and I cannot believe that you're a senior. So it's amazing seeing you here and seeing you on the field and then seeing you now. It's amazing. So congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Any questions, comments? I actually have some questions, if I may. And actually, you touched the last topic was the graduation caps. And so, from your perspective, or can you educate us how did that? How is it determined that you get to wear it at Santa Teresa High School?
It's determined on a vote. And what happens is a Google form is put out into the Google Classroom of the seniors, which we have like a little Google Classroom. It's called Tribal 2024, and it is the Google Classroom that all the seniors are in, regardless of like if they're dual credit, if they only have one class, if they're all the seniors are in that class, and a bunch of information gets posted. Like if they're not on campus a lot, the information is posted there, and also on the Instagram. And since we only had around 30% of the students actually participate in the vote, we don't get to decorate our caps because we have a large majority vote. It's a yes, no majority.
Was the outcome of the survey communicated to you all? And do you know that?
The majority was not communicated to me. All I know is that 30% of the seniors actually voted. I don't know if they voted yes or voted no majority. Mm-hmm. All I know is that 30% were voted and it's less than 50%. So we automatically cannot decorate our campus. To my knowledge.
How big is your class now? If you know that information.
I think around the last time I checked, around 300 something.
Okay. 300-ish. Okay. Huh? 263. Okay. I guess my other question is, who decided that there was supposed to be a survey?
I'm not sure who decided there was supposed to be a survey, but I'm pretty sure that's how we always determined if seniors wanted to decorate their caps. And in my opinion, that's the most logical method to determine if seniors want to do it. Mm-hmm. Like all they gotta do is just go on the Google Classroom, click on it, and say, do you want to decorate? Yes, no.
Do you think it was clearly communicated? So I guess maybe these questions are not fair to you. Maybe at a later time in our discussion when I can ask the administration. But so having access to this Google Classroom, Tribal 2024, and Instagram, as far as the Google Classroom, is every senior automatically enrolled in this, or do they have to enroll themselves?
They're automatically enrolled. Mm-hmm. It updates every single year. Like last year, I was in Tribal 2023, and that I didn't check it as often since I was a junior and still in high school full time. But it did still give me updates on what was happening during the week. Like if there was a big test coming up, like the state mandated test, Spirit Week, and other major events. So it's automatically updated every single year. So yes, every senior is in it. Mm-hmm. And as far as the communication wise, I am not on Instagram, so I don't get regular updates, and I don't check Google Classroom as often as I stated because I am not a full-time student at STHS. Mm-hmm. But another thing, I get a lot of my information now through the grapevine of seniors, and since the survey time was so short, I think it was either 2-3 days to a week, I'm pretty sure. I didn't have time for the information to get to me on the grapevine.
So you were not, so what you're communicating to the board is that had it not been through what we're calling the grapevine, you would have not known that this survey was out there.
Yes,
And because you're a DCC dual
ma'am. Dual credit, yes.
dual credit. So I take it that you didn't get 2 votes.
No, ma'am.
If you would have voted, what would you have been, in favor or against?
I would have been in favor because I actually wanted to accept.
Are there any other questions, comments, or concerns for the young lady? Okay.
Yeah, Miss
Mr. Leah, go ahead.
Miss Barra, just you mentioned about wrestling. They won the what championship did they win, or a tournament, or what was it?
At state championship.
The state second.
At state. At state.
No further questions or comments. Thank you so much for your presentation, and thank you for entertaining my questions, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President.
Moving forward with board member reports, I'll go ahead and start this evening with Claudia Rodriguez. Not just kidding. No, we'll go ahead and start with the Secretary Maria.
Good evening, everybody. I apologize for not being able to go to the district spelling bee yesterday, but thank you so much, Mr. Carmona, for posting it because I was able to watch it online. And I want to say congratulations to Chaparral students. All 3 places were from Chaparral schools. And there were 2 kids from elementary and 1 from middle school. So it was pretty intense. Some of the words I was even writing them. Chiringuito. They got it wrong. Chiringuito. And I had to Google it because I'm like, I've never heard of that word, and it was in Spanish. But it was fun to watch. So congratulations. I know they're going to state. They'll be getting ready to go to state. Also, I missed Lego night at Santa Teresa Elementary, and I got a lot of calls and text messages saying that they wanted this at every elementary because I guess they had kids from Riverside and from La Union attending this event, and that it was an amazing event. I saw some pictures and it looked pretty fun. I want to thank Ms. Ward for inviting me to the Santa Teresa Elementary Career Day. Thank you so much for the invitation, and it was really nice to see. We saw vets, we saw people. I ran into a friend that she does hair and nails, and so it was really nice to see different career pathways, different opportunities for kids. And then what else? I went to the MPA at Oregon Mountain, and congratulations to the Teresa High School, Chaparral. I don't know about Gadsden. I didn't get any information, and I missed their. But I don't know if did they. I have no idea about them, and I didn't have time to text them. But they will be going to state competition. I think it's in April. It is Dr. Seuss week, so I've been seeing a lot of pictures of the kids dressing up and having their wacky day. It was today in some schools. So it was really nice to see it. Have a amazing spring break. Enjoy it. Have fun. Be safe. Happy belated birthday to Miss Laura, our president. Her birthday was yesterday. Also, I went to the project search presentations at Chaparral High School and Santa Teresa High School. There's a big interest for next year, so I'm hopeful that we'll have a big group of them joining next year. It has been an amazing program. If you guys don't know about it, look into it because really seeing these kids with disabilities wanting to go to college, wanting careers, being in the workforce, it's just very inspirational just to see their stories. And then they got to share their experiences. Some of them that got teary, so it's amazing. So Miss Patsy, the teacher for that program, I mean, has been amazing. I heard great things when she was in Gadsden Middle School. I think they said that she was for 20-something years in Gadsden Middle School, and I have to say that like we're very fortunate to have her in Santa Teresa High School for, running this program. And to Miss Parra, thank you for your for the information. I do listen to the podcast. I heard about the podcast, so I do listen to them sometimes, and it is fun. So keep posting stuff because I like to listen on the way to work. And yes, congratulations to Miss Arroyo. She's an amazing sponsor. She does great things with the kids at Santa Teresa High School, and And I mean, you can see the fruit of that. And to end my report, Dr. Seuss Week, why fit in when you were born to stand out?
Thank you, Mrs. Murillo. Mr. Castillo.
I have nothing to report at this point.
Thank you, Mr. Castillo. Moving on to Christian Lee.
I just had a question for Mr. Dempsey. I found out, Mr. Dempsey, this week that that CRUA is moving out of the building. That Gaston will not be, I guess, renewing their lease. And I found that out today. I would like to see if you have any plans with those offices. And the reason that that I'm asking it's because I know that they've been having issues with finding property to rent. And my concern is I am a city resident of Sunland Park, and I do know that speaking to Juan Crosby, he mentioned that the rent that they're able to afford would be closer to the border crossing, which I know that would hinder a lot of the residents from Sunland Park from going over there, since a lot of them don't have transportation. At this point, for the record, I have not approached the city of Sunland Park, but I know that they have a building that they were going to purpose for the library, and I did request a meeting with the city manager. And I think, just as a concerned citizen, I think that I can plant the seed that CRUA should move in there, just for the sake of the residents. So if there's no plans to do anything with those offices, I would like to see explore the option of actually extending them about 3 months from when they're gonna be moving out. And I think that's gonna give them time for the build out at the Sunland Park location. That is, if Sunland Park is willing to give that building. If not, I think that they're looking at building up there in the industrial area, but and that would take a little bit of time as well for them to build out. So I think if we're able to do that, the offices will not be utilized for anything else. I would like to see that happen if it's possible.
Madam President, board members, Mr. We definitely have plans to expand. We really kind of struggled with office space just in GAC, and we are looking to there's already a plan to utilize those offices. I always want to be a good community partner, and so I'm definitely willing to sit down and have some dialogue to help extend a little bit if they need that, to get them a transition. So if you just send them over my way, I'll be happy to sit and talk to them. And we want to make sure they have a plan, because we are expanding here at GAC and are going to need the space. But I don't want to put anybody out on the street either.
Yeah, and
so I'll be reasonable. And I want to be a good community partner.
And just for the record as well, this is like I'm taking this upon myself, not as a board member, more of a citizen. And I'm gonna go talk to the city manager and possibly the mayor, and just let them know the situation, that they have a building that it would hinder a lot of the residents of Sunland Park to drive out there. I was advised by Juan that most of the customers still come and pay they want to see their money go into the cash box. So for them to drive all the way over there to the border crossing, it would really hurt them. So maybe I'll communicate with you by email to see what could be done. Once I get a meeting with a city manager and see if they're open to the idea, and then we can discuss to see what could be done.
Absolutely. And again, I want to be a good community partner. We do need the space, but is it imminent that we need it right now? No, we can adjust it.
I appreciate it. Sure. And just adding to what Ms. Arlene said, Ms. Murillo, regarding the special ed kids, that they're amazing. I pick up my kid from the daycare where they're doing their program, and you guys should really go see them. Hopefully they can come and give a presentation, because in academics people focus on the kids that excel, the honor roll kids, the higher achievers, but these kids are amazing. You guys see them work. They're fun. First, they're fun. They're fun to be with. They want to talk to you all the time, and they're super respectful. They're doing their job. They cater to you, and it's nice to see them doing that. So I want to commend those kids for that as well. That's all in my part.
Thank you, sir. Okay, so for my report, this past, is it Tuesday, Monday? Tuesday, Monday, I believe. Yeah, Monday. I attended the DACC advisory board meeting. I'm part of that advisory board. And so, just real quick, Dr. Torres did go over strategic priorities. She did, there is actually hot off the press an advisory board handbook for all 5 of us. And so just in case you don't know what the DACC advisory, we represent the Hatch Valley Public Schools, 2 board members, and then 2 board members from Las Cruces Public Schools, and then myself and Mr. Castillo from Gadsden. And then just a reminder, well, just so the public knows, is that DACC is up for accreditation. It is a 10-year process, and then the accreditation visit will be taking place the 25th of March, also the 26th. And myself and Mr. Castillo are invited. I do plan on attending on the 25th a luncheon with the accreditation team, and they'll be asking us questions. Mr. Castillo, Ms. Dr. Torres, there's actually tomorrow an event, and I'll forward you the email called La Platica. It's an opportunity. It's not mandatory, but if you would like to attend, it's through a Zoom meeting where they're going to be, the DACC folks are going to be talking amongst themselves, like in preparation. And so, you know, it just is not, we don't, it's like, because one of our fellow board members from Las Cruces Public Schools was like, am I going to have to, you know, they barely joined and they don't know much about it, but she goes, just speak from the heart, and, you know, they're not going to be quizzing us on like facts and stuff like that. So I don't know if you've been on one before. Okay, thank you. And then I did take the time at the end. We always have an opportunity to give district reports, and I did take the time to acknowledge Vado Elementary and Loma Linda Elementary on that video, and I need to send it to them because I told Dr. Torres that I would send it to her to forward to her staff, the video. And so I just we are a shining star in the state of New Mexico when it comes to literacy, and so I'm very proud of us for that. So that was DACC. And then, like Ms. Murillo was saying, I'm very proud of all of our bands. Again, I don't know how Gadsden High School did either. I did go that evening to the MPA at Performing Arts Center of Oregon Mountain High School. So I did get to see Chaparral High School, and then I went to dinner, came back to see Santa Teresa High School. Wasn't able to see Gadsden High School because that was during the day when I was working. But I'm proud to say that that I know for a fact that Santa Teresa and Chaparral High School did make it to state. Very proud, especially of Chaparral High School, because our band director did start late in the year. We didn't have a marching season really, and so I know Mr. Short, Eric Short, has been working tremendously with our kids. I thanked him, and I really appreciate Principal Victoria Lopez. I saw her in attendance. It's the second time I see her attending. That's very important to me, not only as a board member, but also as a parent, to show that principals are attending these events, because it speaks volumes. It shows that you care about our kids and you care about those extracurricular activities. So thank you so much. I also want to thank Principal Suggs, who's here in the audience this evening. She was also in attendance with her husband, supporting the Santa Teresa Warrior Concert Band. I know we get very busy as administrators, but it's so important not only to show support to the sports, but also band, all other extracurricular activities. When it is possible, please go and support your kids, because as parents, we do see that you're there. So thank you so much, ladies, for doing that. And again, congratulations to the Lobos and to the Warriors. And I know probably that Gadsden I'm going to dare say that probably going to, because they're an awesome band too. So hopefully they are. I want to apologize because I didn't get to go to the spelling bee yesterday. I was working on preparing for the board. I would have loved to have been there, but yes, congratulations, because Chaparral Community swept all 3 awards. And so for Chaparral Middle School, the first place winner is Michelle Dawson. She took first place. For second and third, second place was Dylan Ruiz Carabello. Was Moises Betancourt, and he is a student at Desert Trail Elementary. And third place was Dylan Ruiz Carabello, also from Desert Trail. So congratulations to you, students. I'm very proud of you. And I know that the Chaparral community is very proud because, you know, I'm going to say this is that there are academic successes in every single part of our district in the Santa Teresa, Peter Pan, in the Chaparral, and in the Gadsden. We are one family, and we should, you know, I'm proud because there's éxito en donde quiera, you know, not just in one community. And let's see. I think I will conclude by wishing everybody a good spring break, to our teachers, those who get that spring break. And I know some of our employees that are not teachers, you know, hopefully you'll take some time off with your annual leave if that's possible. And sir, enjoy your spring break. And so very much deserved to all of you. Just have fun. Be safe, please. Okay. And that concludes my report. Moving on to item 6 on the agenda, the Human Resource Report. That is there just for public knowledge. No action is required on behalf of the school board. Okay, moving on to item 7. Mr. Dempsey, our superintendent, has made a request, and so I'm going to go ahead and make the motion to remove on the consent agenda. We need to remove item L, which is the surplus property 2324-124 Gadsden Middle School inventory, and that eventually will come back at the next board meeting. Correct, Mr. Dempsey? Did you want to add anything else?
No, Madam President, that's correct.
With that being said, since I made the motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? So that was to remove the item L from the consent agenda. And with that being said, now that I've modified the agenda, I make a motion that we accept tonight's agenda as modified. Was I supposed to do that?
Modified.
Help me, Danny. You're good at this. Did I do that? Okay. Okay. I still get, you know, I still mess up all the time. After 4 years and todavía estoy aprendiendo. Okay. Moving on to item 8 is our regular school board minutes for what? On the what? On the modification. Okay, thank you, folks. Thank you. Okay, so let's go ahead and vote. All in favor to modify the agenda and accept it as it has been modified?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Okay, moving on to item 8, our regular school board minutes for February 22nd, 2024. Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion that we accept the regular school board minutes for February 22nd, 2024.
Ms. Padilla has made a motion to accept the February 22, 2024 regular school board minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to consent agenda. Are there any questions before anybody makes a motion? Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion that we accept the consent agenda as modified.
Okay, Mr. Castillo has made a motion to accept the consent agenda as modified. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to open forum. Ms. Delgado, do we have any speakers that would like to address the board this evening? Madam President, before I call our speaker to the podium this evening, it's just a reminder that the board discourages personal attacks upon staff, personnel, or any of the persons in attendance or absent by individuals to address the board. Any person making public comments shall be solely responsible for the content of his or her comments. The board neither adopts nor assumes responsibility for any comments made by individuals during public comment. Presenters are cautioned that statements or representations concerning others that are false and damaging to a person's reputation may subject the presenter to civil action for defamation. The board prohibits personal threats and the use of obscenity. Such speech is not protected and will not be permitted. The board further prohibits disruptive conduct. Disruptive conduct will not be tolerated. Any violations may result in the removal from the premises. The board also offers formal channels for board consideration of concerns and complaints, including involving individuals. With that being said, I call to the podium Ms. Maida Nunez. And then I just remind you, Ms. Nunez, if you can, you're more than welcome to adjust that microphone for your height, and just make sure that you speak straight into the microphone so that, for recording purposes, and so that the audience and ourselves can hear you clearly. And you just have to, it is up to you solely, but you know that, that if you are doing personal attacks, that's like solely on you. And then you do have 5 minutes, okay? And again, if you can adjust that microphone and speak straight into it, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. You may begin. Ma'am, go ahead and I'm gonna redo the time. So just let me go ahead and Mr. Carmona, why don't you just take one of my microphone and you can let her speak into it. And can you please put those 5 minutes back?
I have attended meeting regularly, provided documentations, requested updated medical records, resent information to schools, advocated for my kid and teachers with teachers or provided, and still feel like there's no support being provided for my son. I chose to enroll Jaden into the Head Start program as he was highly recommended by an outside organization. However, it seems like the lack of communication has been keeping me from my kid being successful in the Gadsden School District. One of the barriers had been the IP had not been followed through. The goals and updates have received via phone calls or through messages are not what it had been initially being discussed. Jaden had to transition to a new school as there was lack of support and negligence from his previous teacher. I have had to miss many days of work to attempt to speak to staff or whoever. I have not received any updates from. Still, I'm here to the lack of resources and support provided to him. As a parent, I find this very frustrating as I might have to attend board meetings that sometimes they end up early to express my frustrations about the overall negligence on Jaden's services. I have to speak to several departments on a one-to-one, and I have to accomplish regular calls with Ms. Lorenzo as a support. I have spoken to the pre-K teachers, Head Start directors, SPED team, school principals, and sat at IEP's meeting back and forth, where we have discussed support and have received no follow-through on any of the services. I hope that through this meeting we can come up with some solution on what we can provide Jaden with the support that he needs to be successful at the school. And he was moved from one school to the other, and my kid is not the trouble child. Obviously, he's just barely 4. I've talked to Mr. Dempsey. He has mentioned that somebody's gonna call me. They just call me. They just hear me vent, but nothing gets done. Obviously, I said October 25th, right? That he had finished or he had been transitioned to another different school, and this school he doesn't have any services. He doesn't have the speech therapist, and as for right now, I'm overwhelmed. They don't follow through with his whole IEP. As for right now, Tuesday, I had a meeting with Mr. Ravenat and Ms. Lorenzo, which is the pre-K director, Mr. Ravenat, the SPED director, and there's no solutions. Like, I don't get follow through. I don't get anything anything going on. I've asked Mr. Randall just to give me updates or to give me a call, and that's lack of lack of communication towards whatever's going on at this point. My kid is just there in school, and of course we talked about his goals. We talked about his services, and as the way that I mentioned to Mr. Dempsey, like there's no reason for it to be an IEP when there's no services being provided. IEPs are getting done and they just get put in a file without being even seen. I talked to his OT this last week, and I questioned her, hey, any updates, right? Because my kid is 4-year-old. He's nonverbal in certain stuff. He can tell me what's going on. How it's your school? He can tell me any of this stuff. And her response was, I'm working on whatever it's IEP. Yet again, I looked at his progress report and I looked at his IEP and it's not even matching. And as for right now, my kid started school February 2023, and it's still lacking everything that it's been saying in there in his IEP. So I'm not even sure what that paper is for if no one's following through. My kid was moved from La Union Elementary to Santa Teresa Elementary for the negligence of his teacher. My kid has food allergies, he has food sensitivities, he has all this other medical stuff that she neglected. And at that point, I felt my kid was not safe with her at that moment. We had one IEP, and that IEP didn't follow through. She made I've always provided my cell phone, and the communication was always there available for her. And at this point, my kid was sent to another school for that reason, and that school didn't have his services.
Ms. Nunes, as the board president, do you reserve the right to extend your time? If you could just go ahead and wrap up.
Yeah, I as for right now, I can go on and on and on. And like I told Mr. Rapanat, I told Ms. Lorenzo, and everybody that seemed to just call me is just venting. Because to be honest with you, whoever calls me, I'll have someone call you. And that call doesn't lead to anything. It really doesn't. So I'm not even sure. I come to these meetings to find a solution for this, and I don't get anywhere. And I don't think it's my kid's fault that teacher was put in that position without, the proper support or whatever you want to call it. But it's just not right. I mentioned that I missed so many work days. I've taken my kid to every doctor's appointment that they say, every specialist that they want me to get updated notes and everything. And still, look where I'm at right now. Talking to other people, trying to get answers and stuff to be taken care of.
Mm-hmm. So I thank you for addressing this evening. Mr. Dempsey, if you can please contact her yourself or your designate me, and I hope that there is truth follow up with the situation.
And even his IEP,
if you could stop now, I can't allow you to continue.
Well, he has called me, but those updates just are nowhere there.
He'll call you back, and we as the board will follow up to make sure that he is in fact following up himself or designate. But I appreciate you coming to the board. Thank you very much. Okay, moving on to discussion items 12A. Action item 11A, action items, and MSBA Excellence and Student Achievement Award. Superintendent Dempsey.
Madam President, board members, you have in front of you in a blue folder there should be 2 lists of names. Let me explain. The first list are we've kind of evolved in this process, and I realize the board may want to change this in the future. These are all due tomorrow, so now is not probably possible to make that change. But this group of individuals are recommended by their peers, and then they're nominated with reasons, and then last year's recipients evaluate each one that's being nominated, and then they determine the winner. And so you see there's 2 for support staff, a teacher, and administrator. And then the second group are individuals that were nominated by board members. And so it looks like we would give if you choose to approve this, we would give a total of 8 awards. The New Mexico School Boards Association helps us with this. It's called the Excellence in Student Achievement Award. The Excellence in Student Achievement Award program seeks to promote student achievement in school districts and assist local school boards in recognizing school leaders, staff, and other individuals who have played an important role in improving student achievement at the local level. You were all emailed the guidelines for it and the criteria for the award. The recipients are either an individual or group that played an important role in improving student achievement at the district level. Recipients may include the following: school board members, administrators, teachers, staff, parent, community member, or volunteer.
Before I open the floor for questions, comments, I appreciate actually Mr. Dempsey and Ms. Murillo that we not disclose out loud names, because we want to do something different this year, where once we receive those plaques come our spring Region 7 meeting, then we will announce the nominees and the winners of this award at a school board meeting such as this. So if you do have questions, comments, concerns, just refrain from mentioning the nominees that are listed here, so that it could be a surprise. Are there any questions, comments? Did you have a question, Mr. Lee?
You?
I guess we don't need to say what he asked you, because it is an open meeting on this concern.
Madam President, board members, we just want to make sure we follow a good protocol and it's a clean protocol. And my recommendation is all board members should be eligible to vote for an award.
Okay. So, just with that being said, so in talking as we were preparing for the agenda, and then I did call Mr. Dempsey again, and I am recommending that in the next board meeting we go ahead and put the NMSBA as a discussion item. Why? So that there is good clarification as to how we had decided when Ms. Murillo, before she was on board, or Mr. Lita, the process where the peers in Gaston nominate the folks that are on this list. And so if you want to change it or modify it, we can do that, but it'll have to be added to like a action item so that we can do that in the future. But at this time, are there any questions, comments, and concerns regarding the 8 individuals that have been nominated? No? With that being said, do I hear a motion for action item 11A?
Madam President, I make a motion that we accept the 8 nominees that are on paper for the NMSBA Excellence in Student Achievement Award.
Mrs. Maria has made a motion to accept action item 11A, actually, as she has stated. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The motion carries. Okay, moving on to discussion items. So our first discussion item for this evening is 12A, New Riverside On-Track Center. Superintendent Dempsey.
Madam President, board members, Ms. Vela is going to help us with this item.
Good evening, Madam President, board member, Superintendent Dempsey. Before presenting this item, I would like to introduce myself, starting to Mr. Lita. I think this is the first time I haven't had opportunity before. So I'm Nancy Vela. I'm the Director for Energy Management and Construction. And I would also like to introduce the board to our new construction coordinator. He's Michael Nevares. And he's helping us, he's going to help us overseeing our construction projects. And in case, and this is to everyone, in case you see him around to the school in the district, He's our new construction coordinator.
Good evening,
Good
everybody.
evening and welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, so now going back to the item, we have a new Riverside On-Track Center project for discussion. This project will consist of the construction of a new on-track center, and this is gonna be located on the southwest corner of the Riverside Elementary School. The design is now complete, and now will begin the process for getting a contractor for the construction and requesting funds, the construction funds to the PSEOC, the Capital Outlay Council. And for this item, we have our architect, AKS, and they're gonna help us. We have Norberto Vizcaino, and he's gonna help us presenting this brief of what it's gonna be the new Riverside. Okay.
Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Dempsey. My name is Miles Krenzel. I'm the principal architect and owner of AKS Architecture. Before we jump into the design and all the good work that Norberto and Carla, who's with us also, has done, I just wanted to take a moment to really compliment the district on your efforts and your continued efforts. I've had the privilege to work with the district for going on 24 years now. And so I've seen lots of great things. And in the last few years, we know how difficult construction has got with increased costs, delays on materials, a number of things you can imagine that we've been dealing with. And so we've had great leadership with Ms. Cadena and Nancy and her team and others in the district on finding creative ways to deal with these projects and keep them going. And I just wanted to take a moment to really compliment the district on your efforts to do that and provide high quality facilities for your communities. It's, like I said, over the 20 years I've worked with you, I've been always impressed at how you guys maximize your resources and are very responsible for the taxpayer dollar. And this project is a great example of that. Riverside utilizing an existing site and partnering with the elementary school there, and a rough estimate has saved the taxpayers over $1 million alone, because we don't have to build a kitchen, we don't have to buy a site for the new facility, plus the operational costs that are saved by those decisions. So I just wanted to take that moment to compliment you guys, and now let Norberto jump into the design of the new facility.
Madam President, Superintendent Dempsey, board members. Like Miles said, we want to say thank you for the opportunity to be able to create such a space for our young community members. And so we've had a lot of fun with this one and trying to, we had originally worked on Chaparral pre-K, and then we did the addition when I was an intern. That was my first job, working with AKS. So that one holds dear to me. And so that was kind of like the base point, the starting point for this one. That was the blueprint originally, what we started with. And then we worked with it to work with the constraints and the conditions with this site. So as Miles said, here that you see up here on the screen, the pink area, red area is the location for the site, the location for the building. And then to the north, there's the soccer field. This project consists of a base bid, which is the classroom wings, 6 classroom wings, the facility, the new parking lot, and also an overflow parking lot. And then this bid lot number 2, which is 2 additional classrooms. So we bring it up to a total of 8 classrooms, because the counts are right on the cusp of between 6 and 8, or 6 and 7. And then bid lot number 3, which is, I'm going to point it out right now, which is the green soccer field area. That one is going to be on its own dedicated water line for more efficiency for the irrigation of that soccer field for Riverside Elementary. So what you see here is the final site plan. We have a parking lot. So where it's located is we have it around the corner of Trinidad and Mount Cristo Rey. Both of them are in to the west here, and to the south is residential area. And this road right here, Trinidad Road, we knew is residential and it's a minor street. We didn't want to put any traffic on that road if we could help it. And so there's also mailboxes along that side. So we knew that we needed to bring the entranceway on this side over here, which is opportunity, which is a feeder street. And then we lined it up, the entryway to the parking lot with the adjacent road, which is Rio Rojo Drive. And so that kind of what started and manifested the growth of it. So we had the parking lot, and then that parking lot is pedestrian friendly, because when we went to go observe and see how the parents interact and the kids interact during drop off and pickup, we had noticed at Chaparral Pre-K that they got rid of the parent drop off and parent pickup because of hazards and issues of having to get kids in and out. And so this one, we made a conscious decision to make it a pedestrian friendly parking lot where every parking stall has a sidewalk, a raised elevated sidewalk that where parents can get their kids safely from any parking stall safely into the building and not having to walk over asphalt and behind cars and whatnot. And so that's what you have as a pedestrian-friendly parking lot. Down here to the south right here is the gravel parking lot overflow for events, special events, in which fills up the parking lot. And it's also a fire lane access. Up here to the north, you'll see a bus drive. That's a bus drive. In order to save cost, we were going to put a separate bus drive in, but we worked with the district and got the accounts and see if we could use that existing bus drive that feeds Riverside and piggyback off of that to shorten our asphalt and try to reduce some costs that way for the two buses that serve this, that's going to serve this building. The building's right in the center right there. You have to the south, you can see the large kind of the square protruding kind of where you have this avenue of trees lead up. That's the main entrance. And then you have playground or classrooms to the north and classrooms to the south. And each set of classrooms has dedicated playgrounds, which has grass areas, playground areas with playground equipment, a sand area. It has a track, a tricycle track, and then a couple garden area beds for there. So we knew that that's where it needed to be, another space, an extension of the classroom into those playgrounds, and not just a playground, but an opportunity that they get to use it. There's raised benches there that some classes can be taken outside just to get that natural air and that relationship going with the indoor and outdoor. And so that whole courtyard area and the playground area is surrounded by masonry, 6 foot tall masonry, and so to help protect with the just for privacy sake. So if we go to the, and I also wanted to point out too, this shows out the base bid, and you can see there's 6 classrooms, and then back here on the east side is an outdoor area as well. But this is the base bid. Can you go to the next slide? This right here shows the 2 additional classrooms on the east end over here as bid lot number 2. So here is the floor plan that we have. Parking lot over here to the left. There's toilet. So there's a gang staff bathroom right in the core around the staff areas, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 classrooms, both with independent bathrooms and also classroom storage as well. And then over here in green is where you see that's the big, large multi-purpose area that they use for eating and for other events. And then the orange is like down here in between the classrooms is just outdoor storage. And then the pink that flank the multi-purpose room are storage for the multi-purpose room. Over here on the far right is the actual bid lot. So it's everything. The only thing that adds, it's the same thing as the base bid. The only thing that's added is just 2 additional classrooms. Each classroom is 1,000 square feet, so it holds 20 students. Chaparral is designed, was it 2009, and so that one was 850, so only holds 17. And so when we started to talk about it, we used that as a base starting point. But then the district said, we need to enlarge them to 20. So that's where we're at. So they're a lot larger than the Chaparral is, and that's because of the time of when it was built. Next slide. Here's the space for the classrooms and a really interactive relationship. One has the light of 1,000 square feet. It has some flat ceilings in there for handoffs. And so And they also use this as the main entry points, like people when they go in, this is the space where parents and teachers receive kids. It's the copy area. It's you can take space they need to eat. So right. Use protection. Right here, it just stops. Starting this one, getting appetite. This is what I got. Any questions?
Questions, comments, or concerns?
Is this a fully funded project? Is this a fully funded project? Nancy, you want to jump in?
Yeah.
You want to share the matches? Yes, the answer is yes, Mr. Peter. But Nancy can give you the splits.
Madam President, Board Member, Superintendent Dempsey. Yes, this project is gonna be also, with the participation of PSFA. It's gonna be 70% the sheriff with them and 50% with us.
That was my elementary.
I do have a question. With the funds. So, there's restrooms for the kid. And the only two other restrooms that are available would be the ones next to the office. And those would be men's and women's.
Men's and women's.
Do we have for another option?
We have men's and women's, and then we also have that dedicated room right there. It's on the south one. It's kind of a boundary room, so it can be used for you, whichever you for that.
Yes, so then if it's a family restroom,
Well, the one that
what's
we
the
did,
difference between a multi and a?
it's just a good occupancy.
Okay.
Yeah, so but only one person can occupy.
Questions, comments, or concerns? Thank you so much for your presentation. And, Nevada. Actually, no, se van a quedar. Es un item for. It's a partial day. Sí.
Madam President, presents.
Madam President, Board Member, Superintendent Dempsey. Now we have the elementary school partial reroute project for discussion. The project scope of work is to replace the existing TPO of the 300 wing. On the slide you can see it's gonna be the yellow highlighted area. That it's we're gonna have a pre-proposal conference at the Chaparral Elementary Library on Tuesday, March 12th at 11 a.m. And the submission of proposals is on March 26th at 2 p.m. After the proposals evaluation, we are gonna present our recommendation on the board meeting of April 11th. Do you have any questions?
Any questions? We didn't have any. Thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank you.
Discussion item 10, graduation exercise GISD policy IKFD. Superintendent.
Madam President, board members, just with graduation coming upon us, and at times the board gets presented with questions regarding graduation, how that happens. And so I thought it would just be good for all of us to review what's in policy right now, and that's what's in front of you. It talks about graduation exercises will be held for students who have met state and local requirements for graduation from high school. All high school students will identify and recognize the top 10% of the graduating class as part of the graduation ceremony. Participation in high school commencement exercises is encouraged, but not compulsory. However, since these exercises require planning and rehearsals, the following rules shall apply. Students who wish to participate must be present at the rehearsals. Failure to do so, except for a legitimate reason for absence, may be cause for excluding students from participation in the exercises. Students may not participate in the commencement exercise unless they have successfully completed the requirements of graduation, paid all fees, fines, and charges due. And that was adopted at the adoption of the manual.
Are there questions, comments, concerns regarding graduation exercises? And I just did want to inform the public that Mr. Lita requested this agenda item. So if you have any questions, comments, but I think Ms. Leo is she's going.
Well, the reason that I decided to add it, it's because many students, not Ms. Parra, but many students are wanting to have their caps decorated. So I took it upon myself to do some research, and I found out that there's other schools that have done it, and it's established. And I obviously I know that you guys had the chance to do it through the voting process, but I myself would like to see it done. Maybe we can just do it through policy and take it for a vote here, and have it standardized through have it as an action item for the next meeting before they actually go to graduation. And I do feel that us doing it this way, the liability lies in you, Ms. Parra, and your classmates to make sure that you guys police yourselves and that you guys are having fun. But I mean, obviously, just if this does pass, I mean, as fast as it could pass, just like that, it could be revoked. So I would like to see it happen where you guys have fun and you guys are able to enjoy your last year, and for others to keep enjoying maybe a tradition. I don't know. When I was in high school, I wasn't a thing, but I say you see it all over the social media that people students like to be more personalized and show their support in different ways. So I did receive calls from different students, and I mean I would like to see it as an action item for at least it has to be passed as policy. I don't know how other schools have done it. If it's been through the same process of voting or through the principal just saying yes or no. Maybe you can do some research and maybe centralize it throughout, or keep it as is and then just apply it for Santa Teresa for future classes. But once again, if there's anything that bad or stuff that should not be explicit stuff, that it's gonna come back to us, and I'm the one that's putting my word out for you guys, and I can tell you just like that, well, it'll be like last year, and it's gonna be reverted back to whatever the principle or whatever the policies are. That's pretty much all in my part.
Thank you, Mr. Deere. Mr. Betsy, did you have a response?
Yeah, Madam President, Board of Voters, I think we can do a quick review. Prior to pandemic, there was no decorating of caps whatsoever done in Gadsden. And I will tell you, as I talk to more and more people, Mr. Castillo, I think you can share some of this. there have been ceremonies that, one in particular that I was brought to my attention that was, we had a guest speaker at the ceremony, and of course our valedictorian and salutatorian gave their speech. Now this was prior to me. The salutatorian and valedictorian speeches were never heard by their parents because their crowd was so out of control. The guest speaker walked off the stage in the middle of her speech and refused to ever return. And that was an individual who was very well known in our community in El Paso. And so I also would share that on a stress level for a principal, graduation day is on a scale from 1 to 10, they're at a 12, because they really want it to be an honorable event for the families and the kids. And people get so excited that sometimes that excitement gets a little misplaced. And so we want them to celebrate, but we also want it to be some formality to the event. Now, when we came out of the pandemic, we sat down with some students, and the students brought us to this as a request. And really, the rule of voting, the rule of how they were decorated, was all established 100% by those students at the time. And these were students from Chaparral High School, Gadsden High School, and ST. So the voting process and the numbers was determined by the students, not by me. They worked directly with me, and we established this. And then to do this, here's the other piece of it. The students have to police it. Because you and I, trust me, on graduation day are not going to have time to do it. And the principal definitely doesn't have time to do it. And so what had to happen was, if they get 51% of the agreement votes to participate, then a week prior to the ceremony, they have to present their cap. A picture is taken, it's uploaded to a Google Doc. That same picture and that same cap have to be used that day. You show up with a different cap, you're not welcome. And so it's a lot of work on others to make this thing go and keep it within a reasonable framework. Now, I think I can speak for principals, Ms. Suggs in particular. The other side of this is there's also a component of this. Here's an example I can give. I can think in my mind, I wonder if Ms. Pata participated, but Senior Sunrise. Senior Sunrise at ST High is a pretty well-attended event, I think. Several, right, Ms. Suggs? And you can speak to this if you can help us, but very well-attended event, and she uses the same tools that we just described tonight in that process. And I will take as I talk to Ms. Suggs and I talk to other high school principals, and I've walked in these shoes, there's also a little part here about leadership and about the democratic process. And if you don't get the majority, you don't win. And they have to learn that. That's a tough lesson. But it is, we've seen groups that have, the group that designed this, amazing leadership and amazing motivation. I think I had 3 or 4 different student meetings online. It was virtual. It was right after pandemic. And, we were good at virtual at that point. I had hundreds of kids on that meeting with me because they were very motivated to make it happen. So there's a little part of me as a principal that says, well, if you care about it, you'll pay attention. Right? And Senior Sunrise is a perfect example. They care about it. 173 out of 263. Right? So
what event is this? The Senior Sunrise?
Senior Sunrise. They do it right. What is it? Do you want to share that? You can probably share better what Senior Sunrise is. What is that?
Some of the senior events that are already taking place has been Senior Sunrise. So they get together one morning prior to the sun rising, and we get together at the baseball field, and together as a team or as a community, we get to see the sun rise. Our sponsor does make sure that everybody signs in, so that's how I know exactly how many. So I have signage. So we had 173. Another senior event that took place is the all-famous Senior Ditch Day, which of course I do not promote, but yet we had 150 kids participate in that. Right? I didn't even have to say, hey, it's happening. And then for the voting, unfortunately, we only had 80 students that participated that said yay, and 2 that voted and said no. Okay, we also have our senior quotes. The quote that goes on the yearbook. We had over 150 responses, and I know that because I had to read them, make sure that they were on spot. And all these processes happen the same way, right? Through a survey that is posted on the Google Classroom, and they have to use their Google account so we can make sure that it's nobody else voting that's not a member of Santa Teresa High School. So May I speak a little?
Sure.
Absolutely.
They want to, I mean, Ms. Suggs, I think what they need to understand, and the senior graduations, we all know this, get very passionate, right? But at the end of the day, it's about honoring kids and the work they did. And then there's a balance to it, right? And one balance, you'll see it during graduation, is parents and I think even students, they enjoy the ceremony and they want it done. They don't want to sit there for 2.5 hours listening to somebody do whatever they want, right? They think it's important because they're not going to remember it. I don't remember a single one speakers at any of my graduations, right? They want to go celebrate with their family. So, sorry.
So all I want to say, and I said this to my students that came to me, because I did have 2 students that wanted to have a meeting with me and talk to me about it. And they did give me 48 hours to think about it. And what I told them at the end, I said, look, I need to think, because whatever the decision is going to be, I'm going to set a precedence. And so after thinking, and I sat with them today with one, and I sit with the other one tomorrow, is I want them to decorate their cap. Okay, this is their graduation, but there's a bigger thing out there. They need to learn to do it as a community. They need to come together and tell me, Ms. Sutton, this is what we want to do. Because if they do that, then I know that them following the policy of what they put on that cap will be abided, because they have worked for it. And I even have a great idea that was brought to me by a student. They got to tell me that they want it. They have to come together as a team, because if they can show me they can come together as a team, imagine how my attendance will increase, right? How my graduation will increase, because now it is their school. They will see that they're making decisions. And I'm hoping that my 11th graders, my 10th graders, and my 9th graders are out there. I want them. If not, I wouldn't have publicized it on Instagram. Right? I wouldn't have put it on the parent reminds that I send out every Sunday about CAP graduation. I'm putting it out there. And that's sorry, I interrupted you. So I want that, but I also have a bigger picture for them to learn, because those are skills. So I just wanted to share the reasoning behind the voting. Sorry, Mr. Lira.
I have a foreman.
Yeah, go ahead. Tell me when you're done.
All of the activities that you said, are they all with 51%? Is that the same way that or is it majority? Or because you did mention that they were all grouped this way where there's participation, but are they all with 51%?
Those numbers are all above 51%
of the
senior population. Mm-hmm. With 263, they were all way above. My point behind that was, when they want to do it,
I'm gonna pass the board to Ms.
So this process has been pretty transparent, and my kid was one of them, and I told him, you need to put something else. I'm not gonna get involved, and I didn't. So I want to thank you, because you did had a conversation with him. He didn't agree, but I'm like, well, but you talked to her, right? I mean, the fact that you open your doors and you're busy. I do want to read, because I got 13 text messages and 4 phone calls. But this one was very interesting in that I sent Ms. Suggs the very first one, because I thought I was just going to get one call, and I didn't. So I sent it to her, and I'm like, and I told every kid that texted me, I said, look, thank you for the information. I said, thank you so much. Please contact Ms. Suggs. That's it, right? Because like I don't want the kids to think, well, you're the mom, so here you go. And I'm like, because I'm not going to do the work for them, right? So, but I do want to read this one. It says, good morning, Ms. Murillo. I'm not going to say the name. I just wanted to give you my opinion on the Teresa High School cap decoration idea. I know it is easier to get a majority vote and majority width, but it is not fair for those students that really want to decorate their caps and are not able to because not enough people voted for it. Us being able to decorate our cap is something memorable, because I've seen people put something about their loved ones. Like, for example, me, my mom passed away. I would love to put her picture in the cap. I wasn't able to vote on it because I was out of town that weekend. I want them to be there with them, and they have to put stuff of things that they want to do in the future, or they put stuff that they like. Decorating caps is another way to look back at your high school years and be able to remember all those memories with your friends. So I think that needing to vote to decorate the campus better, especially if we're the only school doing the voting. Where's the equality in this? And I thought it was very interesting. This person said that it was an officer. I thought it was very interesting because I don't know if every high school went through the process, and then more things came up. At the end of the day, I did tell every kid, Miss Suggs is a principal. She needs to know about this. She needs to know, especially this kid, right? Another student mentioned that, well, let the 80 something kids that voted, let us separate, let us be the example that, like, well, too bad for you that didn't vote it, right? Like, but we tried, I guess there's a specific group of kids that have been trying since last year to add it, and they just, I don't know if they'll get the numbers. Does the process for the voting on the decoration of cap is exactly the same as every other thing with the same amount of time? So like they got over the weekend from Friday to Saturday, they got the same thing for every single thing? Oh, okay. And that's, I just wanted to comment, and I want to thank you because it is a lot, and then you have to deal with the day-to-day operations events to still this to come back. It's and for you to give that time. I mean, you know that I mean you're everywhere, and I really appreciate you for that. And so I did say I will read that message, but I'm not gonna make an opinion out of it because I do respect you enough to deal with this.
Anybody else, Mr. Castillo? Go ahead, sir.
Madam President.
Yes.
Madam President, just to add on to that, again, if the kids want this, if they really wanted it, we're all busy. One of the things that hits me, without offending anybody, we didn't volunteer, right? I did 2 years in Oakland. I was working in Oakland, and I made sure that my flight was here for Thursdays for the meetings. You guys are busy. I get that. Yeah, I have confirmation class for the youth. You guys are busy. You have a lot on your plate. But if this is what you want, this should be on your plate, right? And for those that didn't, was it? And again, then we can't just tell Ms. Suggs, don't worry, they're busy. So is everybody else. So is everybody else, and they chose not to participate. Now you can say I was busy, right? I had other things. Those things took precedence. You guys knew that graduation was coming up, right? So again, as much as this is what you wanted. Again, I would have to side with Ms. Suggs to say you did put it out there. And then, one of the things that reminds me, my son, for his, I think it was his prom, he said it was just 6 of us that decided the theme because they put it out there back then, and only 6 showed up. And he said 5 of those said, didn't like what he said, and this is what they went by. For a school, again, over 300, or state the class, and this is your problem because 6 chose to show up and voice, right? And again, I get it. It's very touching, that you want to put your mom up there. I get it. But again, if this is what they truly wanted, this is what you put on your plate.
Anybody else before I go?
Yeah, just to close my the reason that I decided to put it in to the principal, I mean, I want to commend you because everybody speaks highly of you. I haven't had the chance to really work with you, and I don't want you to think that this is kind of like overriding the things. But as you said, you want the students to be more participant in the earlier years. But I mean, at the end of the day, the ones that did decide to vote, they went out of their way to actually know that there's other routes to do it. And I've done it all my life. I've been in a public servant and other boards, and I wish there was more participation. And they know, what, if if something is gonna get changed, then they know that they can actually go from you and obviously to the board. Them knowing to the once they go to the real world, hey, you know what? I'm not gonna take this for an answer. And those that are gonna be looking for other avenues, they're gonna go for it. A lot of people don't. I mean, look at our communities. They take no for an answer, but there's that one that will jump every step of the way until they find a solution. An example of the lady back here, she wants to find a solution for her kid, and she made the time to be here. But because there's another level, if there wasn't another level, well, yeah, you know what? That's what the answer that they had to take. But these kids took the time to actually come and look at other options, and that's the reason that I wanted to make sure that it's presented, and at the end of the day, it's sticking for. Thank you.
Okay, so you want me to share this? We're gonna try next. Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. Okay. So I am going to go based on what my colleague wrote here. Okay. And then so and actually, so we're gonna give you a little history of how this came to be. Okay. So and with your permission, Ms. Rodriguez, some of your points are actually interesting, or some of my points. Okay, and I want you to know, Ms. Suggs, that I do not disrespect you in any shape or form. And so here when I will start by saying I disrespectfully disagree. And so I will make my points, and I will agree at this moment. My opinion is I agree with Mr. Dita, the possibility of putting that as an action item so that it is in district policy, so that we can be more specific, because the policy said it as if it doesn't even say the administration, the so would like to decide blah 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 whatever. So that's just my opinion. But again, so in 2021, the class of 2021, wanted to decorate their caps, and so this was in the pandemic, so there was no white people, right? We were here. I think we were conducting meetings, so we're not. And so the ones that really came up to speak that I can recall, and correct me if I'm wrong, were students from Chaparral High School and Gadsden High School. However, they were advocating for everybody, every single high school, including Desert Tribe, including Santa Vista, including Santa Teresa High School Warriors. And so it is my understanding that, Mr. Dempsey, that with I think there were young ladies, actually I'm going to say that one of those was my daughter, Beatriz Elena, in 2021, and I don't remember the president of student council or the class, I forgot her name. She also talked to Mr. Dempsey. And so then the outcome of that is that year, all three high schools were able to decorate their caps. They were, including Santa Teresa High School. I got my proof. You want to go to Facebook? There it is. Go back. We got to decorate in 2021, and all the comprehensive high schools, including District Pride and our campus. So then there is a memo that comes to mind, which is what Ms. Rodriguez left to share here. That in 2021, a memo came out May 17, 2021, with guidelines for decorations and caps, and that came from our superintendent Dempsey. And so it says members of the class of 2021 are approved to decorate their caps in accordance with the following criteria. And so the rubric, has the do's and don'ts. I don't want to read it, but basically, to honor a loved one you've lost, favorite sports team, et cetera. Don'ts obviously would be nothing of the profane, vulgar, or lewd, no tobacco, sexual, anything sexual in nature, et cetera. So that's a memo that went out. And then it goes on to, specifics as far as, no higher than 2 inches, nothing dangled, etc. It does proceed page 2 to say students who wish to decorate their caps must have them approved prior to the ceremony. Approval will be completed during each school's graduation rehearsal, etc. maybe even names, or it's not a bias, from Gaston High School. She was the check and so forth. So the people who were identified who would be checking these things. I do want to point out that in the memo, there is nothing listed for basically to do this. Somebody might enter my argument, well, that's not an argument, maybe entering into my argument, but those are the facts of what happened. And so now I'm speaking up from this little bit for myself. So yeah, there was nothing listed as far as having, or nothing listed to vote, and nothing mentioned that 1% had to be in favor of the graduating class. Now, maybe somebody or yourself in this sense might also come and ask and tell me, well, that pertained to the class of 2021. Maybe that might be an argument that you yourself or somebody might say that pertained to 2021. Because at the top it does say members of the class of 2021 are approved to decorate their caps in accordance with the following criteria. I'm personally going to say that probably there was a lack of true communication as to what should have been done in the following 2 years. Why? And I don't want this by no means to mean that we're going to do away with what the other schools are doing, because I just opened up a can of worms, literally. Okay, so some from the high school, right now could say, well, then it's not fair, because in my brain I'm thinking, well, then it's not fair that Chaparral High School, all the other high schools are decorating, because it's normal. Argument could be it's for the members of the class of 2021 because they were in COVID, we were in COVID, and they didn't get the high school experience as a senior. But I'm going to say that there was probably a lack of communication of whether this memo applied to the class of then 2022 and 2023. And all other comprehensive high schools and our EPA and our Alta Vista have been decorating their caps in 22, 20, 22, 20, and I don't want that to be taken away from them. But yeah, nowhere on this memo did it say that mentioned 51% of the class, nor did it say to vote. With that being said, although 51% not met, majority of those that voted wanted. So what Ms. Rodriguez is trying to express is that the survey that was given now to the class of 2024 warriors, majority is wanting to do this, even though it's a small sample. I do want to say also that I did receive phone calls from this on Sunday night, and so very respectful kids. Very good arguments in my opinion. And one of them, a mathematician, like Ms. Flores, that's not fair. There should be a sample, not the 50% of eligibility for 263. And then he said, do you guys, when you guys vote for policy, you send out surveys? Do you always get, 51% of the vote from the Gadsden Independent School District community? Absolutely not. So, why are we being held accountable to a survey when you yourselves as board members pass policy based on the sampling of the population? So, I agree with that student. I think that's awesome. Valid point. Let's see. And I want you to talk, but just it's my turn now for a minute. So that let's see what it's. I am also curious because they did ask me. Actually, let me back up. So I do hear seeing that you want them to be what's the word? You want them to show their leadership. You want them to move forward as a community. I'm not going to read who the individual that sent this to me, but I did ask, why did you have to vote? Because I'll be honest, I did not realize that Santa Teresa High School had to vote, or else this conversation would have happened 2 years ago for me. I didn't know that. I just assumed, big assumption. Should never assume anything. I assumed that everybody was doing that. And you're gonna see, well, how Miss Burtis, they're the one who goes and takes pictures of their caps. Well, I don't know what happened in 2021 that I didn't realize. It was a clear thing to me last year in 2022. So what I do as a board member is while we're waiting for the classes to go and graduate at the page, I go out there and say hi to the kids and I'm taking pictures of their caps. And I was like, I noticed that no warrior had their cap decorated. And I'm like, what's going on here? And I'm like, another. So then I asked if people out there, why don't you have your caps decorated? But this was because we weren't allowed to. Like, what are you allowed to? So they mentioned that voting process. And I was like, I told myself, I'm gonna make a mental note and bring this to my colleagues' attention. Y se me olvidó. So you know what? Sorry, for these past 2 years, well, the year because se me olvidó. But you know, we all, to what Mr. Castillo said, yes, we are all busy. So I am going to actually, you know what? I'm not going to blame Estrada or forgetting, because you know what? She is showing us that she's being responsible. She's been, yes, you see me, all right? That is responsibility. Okay? We don't need a survey to show that our kids are responsible. Respectfully disagree, okay? We don't need that. So I don't understand. But, you know, she is involved in MSC doing her study. She's getting ahead of the game. If that's not responsibility, I don't know what is. I don't need her to take a survey to show me she's responsible. I don't need her to show me she's responsible. Now, I feel like when you go with the president, yes, that's being a responsible citizen. But for this, I'm like, this is a cap decoration. Just my opinion. You know, this evening, we mentioned, you know, that, you know, why we're here. Even you, Mr. Duffy, have mentioned that it's all about unpaid goods. This is, again, I'm speaking my opinion solely at this time, is that we're honoring our kids. That's our kids' moment. This only happens to them once in a lifetime. Would I have wanted to decorate my cap? I didn't even think about that because I wasn't even allowed back then, in the class of 1984, Gaston High School. Did I do it in college? I don't even know, like, I was able to. Hindsight, and would I go back in the future? I think I would decorate it. I think I'm gonna go back and find my cap, and I'm gonna wear it the day that we do the graduation. I'll carry it, but decorate it. Okay? So I don't, you know, I think our kids deserve this. Our warriors deserve this. They are showing that they're being responsible because they follow chain of command. I did tell them when they called me, I spoke to Principal Suggs. They told me there that there was going to be scheduled, and then they don't know. So I don't know. Okay. You only had 2 students, okay. But those two students went. Now I'm gonna take a little twist here. Sometimes, you know, our kids are adolescents or young adults, and you know, there's so many that are shy. I was a shy kid. I can't even believe up here. Okay. Some do not do good approaching administration, so you have to be respectful of that. You know, take that into consideration. Whereas you're gonna have your leaders, you know, whoever those 2 that approached you, kudos for them. I don't know who they were. You know, I applaud their courageousness. I think also, again, solely my opinion is we need to change the culture of our district. Why? Because I was actually shocked that there was no warriors other than Miss here this evening. You know, there's wanting to go, you know, that decision from the administration, but Do know those who are watching it's going to be recorded, but do want you to follow the chain of command. But know that there is a process and you're welcome to the podium. But I might be criticized for what I'm about to say. So be it. Okay. Maybe there's nobody here for the fear of retaliation. I don't know. It's just a thought. There should not be a fear of retaliation, folks. Follow chain of command, yes, but know that there's, just like Mr. Vito was saying, I admire your courage this month to come up this evening to speak to me. I admire Ms. Button. That's, so, got to change that culture if it's there, that you can approach your principal. You shouldn't be afraid. And if you're shy, I know that Ms. Suggs, you're one of the best year labor, but that again, that's just my opinion from us. I don't know if I should say it, but I'm just gonna say it again. I'm gonna get criticized. It is what it is. Okay. The other thing is is I don't know if this is an adult thing. Okay. I know that Santa Teresa values so much the formality of the event, so much that our students have a dress code, which is fine. Before Mr. Dempsey, you have mentioned that some parents don't want the kids to be ghetto, like Chaparral High School, like Gadsden High School. Maybe I've heard that before, and I just opened another can of worms. Right? We need to stop that. Okay, and I'm talking from the heart. Okay? But this the high school kids are no better than Chaparral kids, like Gadsden kids. We are all one family, and we should act as such. It is awesome that that I've noticed that the dress code is gentlemen have to wear slacks with dress shirts. They're not so bonitos. But just because somebody walks across the stage dressed like that, and somebody from our Gaston High School is wearing cowboy boots with jeans, does not make a warrior better than a panther, a warrior better than a lobo. It doesn't. So maybe we need to rethink so many things. I'm just throwing it out there because it's about the kids. It's not about the adults. And maybe I'm crazy, but sometimes maybe unconsciously we're creating these things in our heads. Because why as a mother would I have to? Why am I thinking ST is better? It shouldn't be like that. I don't even know what to say next, but my sole opinion is I think our kids deserve, I think they are responsible. Somebody like this, Barbara, showing responsibility. We all get busy, we all mistake. God, do I make mistakes on a daily basis? Do I screw up on a daily basis? Absolutely. Nobody's perfect. And also what concerns me is how well was the survey put out there? Because some people have told me, well, maybe it wasn't really advertised because we want to keep it as formality. We don't want to see that in our graduation. I don't know what the perspective is, the truth of the person. But I'm going to complete with that. Just food for thought. I'm going to go ahead and pass it to Ms. Bana. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam President. I just wanted to say I agree with the student who said that we did get a majority vote of yes and only 2 no's. And those like 30% did come together as a community, as Ms. Suggs said. They did come together and they did vote yes for our caps. And they actually put that on their plate and they were responsible enough to check their Google Classroom in the span of the 2 days that it was up. I unfortunately did not pull up my Google Classroom for those 2 days that it was up and was unable to vote yes. But just to circle back, we did vote yes, and it was a majority of the people who wanted to graduate with the decorated cap. And I just wanted to agree with you that this decorating cap are a way to commemorate our high school years and how much we've grown as people. And like denying it is also denying a little bit of individuality, because a lot of people decorate caps differently. Some people get them custom done, and some people craft them themselves, which to a student is very special when you toss your caps and you get to find yours out of the like the sea of caps. And I would just want to have that experience. So if we do pass that policy for ST to get their caps decorated, like the two, like Gaston and Chaparral, then I'll be eternally grateful. That's all I have for you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and that is a wonderful strategy, actually, and I'm going to throw it out there. Why not? Because what happens is that you lose your, that's why I never threw mine, because I don't want to lose it. Well, there it is. You decorate it and you get to find your own cap. So another reason why we should say yay to this. But thank you so much for standing with us. Any other comments, questions, or concerns? Mr. Garcia, go ahead.
Madam President, I'm just gonna tell the board, right? You know, we have one employee. We have one employee. It's already been said. We want this as an action item to give them, you know, give Santa Teresa. I get it. I feel for you. Believe it or not, I feel for you. But by you guys just even saying that, then you're overriding the principal, and he's the one that we have to talk to. And as soon as you guys are saying we're gonna, action item, we're gonna change. Our job is to make policy. You want to make policy and you want to make this a full-time deal, then we have to talk as a board, and we have to say, okay, everybody's gonna do this or nobody's gonna do this. But you guys just even saying we want this as an action item to override a principle, we're overstepping, right? Just as in we're overstepping. We talked to Mr. Dempsey, we talked to the superintendent, and we try and figure something out. But trying to put this, Madam President, call the lawyers and tell them if this is all right. This conversation, again, I truly feel for you. I truly do, truly do. But the simple saying we're going to put this as an action item to override a principle will overstep. He's our employee. She's not.
Any other questions, comments, or concerns? So I guess I will conclude by saying this is that if we could work something out, that would greatly be appreciated. And, have an open mind in studies, and warriors go, I, again, respectfully disagree, but if, I guess talk to Mr. Dempsey and see what can work out. And, yeah. Okay, moving on to discussion item 12D, monthly budget report of the month of January 31st, 2024. Superintendent Dempsey.
Madam President, board members, Ms. Villarreal is going to help us with this.
Good evening, President Salazar Flores, Superintendent Dempsey, board members. I bring forth the January 31st, 2024 monthly budget report. Our operational fund revenues as of January 31st, 2024 were $94.7 million, which represents 58.87% of our budgeted revenues. Our operational fund expenditures as of January 31st, 2024 were $86.7 million, which represents 39.99% of our budgeted expenditures. The January 31st, 2024 operational fund cash balance before loans was 74.3 million. The cash balance after the temporary loan of 7.5 to the grant funds was 66.8 million. Directed construction expenditures plus encumbrances for the operational fund as of January 31st, 2024 were 98.6 million, or 62.85 of the total operational fund expenditures. For our pledge collateral, all of our accounts were in compliance with the requirement as of January 31st. And as you can see, we did have our little internal audits, and those you can review in our book, and as well as the amount of the outstanding grant reimbursement. And at this time, I stand for any questions.
Any questions? I don't think we do have. Thank you so much. Thank you. Moving on to item 13, if that is just the list, I'm not going to read it. Just a reminder to us, as the board of our upcoming sent to the public of our upcoming meetings and events. Are there any questions or comments regarding the items listed? Mrs. Whitney.
Just one, because I know that we also have the NMSU graduation. Yeah, I can clear my calendar.
Okay, but for the DACC, and I don't have my, yes, I will make sure. And then I'll go ahead and send you an email to all of you about the DACC graduation date. But yes, Mr. You don't have to go to that one, but you're welcome to go. And what happens with the DACC graduation is that Arisa Iniguez with the administrative assistant Dr. Torres just out to us and lets us know if we're going to be attending. It's very important that we let her know whether we are attending or not, because she just reserved a spot on stage for us for the DACC. But I'll get you the date consent because I can have my calendar open. And then prior to the graduation, there's like a little reception that happens. But I will, if not listed, then we'll let you know. And any other questions, comments, or concerns regarding our upcoming meetings? Okay. And with that being said, I am going to make a motion that we enter into closed session. Limited personal matters pursuant to 10-15-1 H2 of the Open Meetings Act. FMSA 1978 as amended for superintendents and associate superintendents report on employees on administrative thing, employee grievances, and employee issues. Ms. Delgado, can you please take roll call?
Mr. Castillo? Aye.
Ms. Flores? Aye.
Mr. Rivera?
Aye.
Ms. Murillo? Aye. Ms. Rodriguez?
We are one of the that working on us. We are now in closed session. Thank you folks for joining us this evening. Please safe travels.